it's just a dial on the other side. It's not actually Sputnik, it's just making you think that it is. It's just a random beeping. And because you think that that's supposed to be Sputnik, that's why you believe it's Sputnik. This is what we are gonna do with the moon. I called Brackett, told him that they can't make it for 69. He said, okay, well, you've got to figure out a way to fix it. And I said, we can do it on our own. We can make a film that shows us going to the moon without actually doing it. Well, just try it. Try leaping a bit. So like this. Are you ready? And action! Oh, and jump in the air? Understand? I'm saying we could fake the moon landing. And it wouldn't be hard. All people want to see is an image on a television screen, and we can give them that. Kubrick is making a new movie about the moon landing. And I'm willing to bet that we can use the special effects that he's doing there to do this. He has 2 NASA scientists advising him. We're gonna go and say we're gonna interview them. Do you see what's going on here? Kubrick is getting NASA to make sure that his space movie looks like real space. And so we're gonna use his space movie to make sure the real space movie looks like space. All right, it's called front screen projection. Stanley Kubrick can fake any environment he wants by projecting it through a semi-transparent mirror and then onto a gigantic silver screen. Then he films the entire scene through the same mirror at a 90-degree angle to the projector. What it winds up doing is creating images where you can't tell where the stage stops and the fake photographic background begins. You have an infinite depth of field into environments that exist completely in 2-dimensional space. We can do the same thing with the lunar surface photography that NASA is taking on the Apollo missions. And that's the easy part. We also need to convince everybody at NASA. The good news is, the only people who are in contact with the rocket are all in one room in Houston, inside Mission Control. If we can convince Mission Control that what they're doing is real, everybody else will follow. How do we do that? Hey. That's great. What are we getting in the reflection of his helmet? Am I in it?
We'll have to replace that.
That looks great.
And then you just
We have to repress
put that on an animation stand and reshoot it. This is the original from the soundstage, and the crater textures are added after.
I am Werner von Braun. This motion picture was produced to enable you to experience more personally and vividly the most dramatic events of the Apollo 11 story. The pictures and sounds are real, recorded in real time, where the action really was. So, come with us. We are going to the moon.
I think it means that the job of landing something on the moon where there's no atmosphere and using a rocket to slow it up and having the equipment still work is a very difficult job.
We've been brought in here by Stanley Kubrick to more or less ensure the scientific integrity of the film, to make sure that it's very, very close in reality, but still we want to make certain that it has a base of reality.
To put people on the moon and with enough fuel to enable them to return safely home to Earth requires a still larger and more powerful rocket, however.
It's going to take some time, and I think we have to recognize it. They secured these large boosters, which have led to their being first in Sputnik and led to their first putting their man in space. We are, I hope, going to be able to carry out our efforts with due regard to the problem of the life of the man involved this year. But we are behind.
However, let us imagine for a moment that the many problems have been solved. We are ready to begin our first voyage to the moon. Can you believe it? Can you realize that we, that you and I, that all of us, have actually begun the exploration of another world? We have taken the first historic step into our solar system.
Man walks on the moon! Man walks on the moon! The first man from Earth walked on the surface of the moon this morning.
Presented by NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration.